and get out HMS Victory. Now for this next bit we need to sort of make some new sort of tools which are, you know, rather easy. The instructions show you how to make them. The first one here is just a piece that basically bends around our new load of planks that we've been doing. You want to file it down as well. Right, so you want to just sort of file this down and fin it by 1/2 mil, so it ends up being about 4.5 mils wide. Right, and then with a pencil, right, we just simply go off. Let's try and get this on camera. Right, we're going to simply go off, right, and using our template. Right, I am left-handed, so bear with me. Right, what we're going to do, hold on, wrong side, sorry. What we're going to do is basically draw a line going across here, right, and the same just here, and this is basically giving us a nice straight line with the bulkheads as our straight guide there, and it's also bringing it across 4.5 mil across, and we want to do that all the way along, which apart from, if I just turn it around because I've already done the other side, apart from just at the back here, right, this one here needs to be, I'll just kind of, because I did sort of make a mistake and try and rub it out. There we go. Apart from this one needs to be basically about here, so you're basically just drawing a line straight from this bulkhead here and a bulkhead there. Turn it round again. Okay, big model, and then what it wants you to do is make another tool, right, which is quite clear in the instructions how it goes together. It's this little tool just here. You want to get the bending iron out and just do a little bit of a bend, just a bend that will go with the curvature of your hull. Right, this hull isn't straight, it's got a curve to it, so just that little bend to go with the curvature of your hull, and then it wanted you to measure 31 millimeters from the tip of the curve to along this piece, and then where you've sort of made your mark, as you can see I've made a mark there, we just put another piece on top, and that's going to act as it kind of butts it up against the hull, which then, if we bring back the huge model, right, this is where you can then make your next mark. Right, so butting up just there, as you can see, that will butt up nicely to the hull. Right, we can then make our mark just there. Right, as you can see, that then gives us basically our right angle, which allows us to then come back to our template that we did way back when we was doing these ones. Right, so we can get this template back out, and hopefully, as you can see, we can butt up our template to our two lines that we've drawn. Probably hold that into place like so, and we can then draw around this template like so, and it basically gives us where we need our next row of gun ports going. You know, so it's relatively easy. You need to do that all the way along, do it both sides, you know, the usual. If you want, you can I mean, personally I prefer the method of, let's drill a hole actually in the template, right, and using a needle, right, we can just punch in a little hole there, and that says, you know, that's our center. You can do the whole let's draw a cross business, but I just prefer to, you know, punch a hole in there, and just to sort of get the drilling stage going. Right, we can come in with something like, you know, a 1 mil drill bit or less, because I think this is a 0.8 I'm drilling, just to get the hole starting, ready for when we sort of have to drill through there. before we go off and drill the holes through our gun ports like we did with our first deck, we basically need to do the backs of our second deck of gun ports. And what it wants us to do in the instructions is we've got this, I do believe it's, what was it, 3mm by 5mm. Just double check on that. No, so it's 4mm by 6mm. 4mm by 6mm, alright. And what you want to do is you want to go along and measure up, I do believe it was, if I can remember, something like 21mm or something. I think it was 21mm. I'll have to look it up later. But there's you do that for a distance. I think it is 20 mils, and then 2 at the end need to be 15mm, and we need altogether 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 altogether. Now you need to paint just one side, so I want to paint the side where I've made the marks, right? So what I want to do is to sort of get this going is getting our razor saw, just saw, you know, about once or twice, and this will give us a nice mark, right? A nice indication of where our different lengths are, and it's just an easy task. Right, you do want to sort of make sure it's sort of square, right? And we do that all the way along. Right, with all those notches made all the way along, simply get your black paint out and we just paint it on as nice as we can. Don't worry too much if we say, oops, yeah, make a bit of a mistake. Right, we do want to try and keep it to one side as much as possible. Right, so get this all painted black and then leave it to dry. And then using a micro saw we can just finish sawing it all the way through until we cut off all these little pieces, and it is a simple case of, let's actually get them in some tweezers first. Right, put a nice blob of neat PVA glue. Right, and then we can bring in, let's just turn this around. Right, we can bring in the Victory, and what we want to do is where we've actually marked our gun ports to be, which will be, if I'm just look, will be this side. Right, let's put it in this one so you can see it. Right, we can just lay them in there. Right, so that bit of black that we painted will show through when we open up the gun ports, as well as give us something to drill our little hole in that we need to do like we did on the lower deck. Bit of a cotton wool bird, can wipe up any sort of excess. We don't have to worry too much, not this side anyway, plus it does dry nice and clear. And do that all the way along both sides. Either end, the 15mm ones will go in there. So with all our gun ports nicely drawn out and marked out, we're ready to do some cutting. Now I've already showed you loads of sort of ways of cutting this, but I want to show you another way because it just takes so long to cut out all these gun ports, and I've just been searching around trying to find a really quick, easy way to do it, and I think I've found the easiest way to do it. Now what we need is one of these multi-tools. This one is by Makita, which is a good brand name to get. I think I paid about £100 for this. You can get them a lot cheaper, which really, if you are just buying one of these just for this job, you can pick them up at like about £30 or something nice and cheap like that. Now what I've got here, I've got what is a 10mm, let's just bring you in, a 10mm end on here, which is for sawing through woods and plastics and stuff. But you've got to do a bit of modification to it, because our gun ports, they are 12mm across. This may be 10mm, but because of the oscillating the way it oscillates, it kind of becomes bigger than 10 mil. So I've literally kind of like sanded this down. Hopefully, as you can see there, to I don't know what that is, maybe 6 mil there or something. But just to show you how I sanded that down, I've got our Rotorcraft tool just here, and on here I've got like a glass cutter. As you can see, if you're going to be cutting this, you're going to basically ruin whatever bit it is on here to sort of cut through, or whatever you can find that will cut this. I mean, you know, this isn't my area really, but basically we can turn this on, right? And what I've basically done is just cut the metal like so, right, until you get it, turn this off, until you get it, you know, something like that. So that's a nice sort of quick, easy way of modifying the tool you need for the job. Right, so then we come back to the model itself. Right, now as you can see, I've already drilled our holes here which have gone right through. So just remember, you want to make sure that all of our little bits of wood that we've just sort of glued in has had a good amount of time to dry before you start drilling through here. So getting our tool, now hopefully I'm going to get this on camera nicely, but basically it is a nice easy task. Alright, I'm going to just turn this on, so forgive the noise. Right, so sorry about the noise, but it is rather loud. And as you can see, we've now knot that through quite nicely, which if I can just sort of rip it out almost. There we go. We have cut out that gun put there a lot easier than what they are saying to do in the instructions, which, as you remember, it's like cut those crosses and oh, you just go through your blades like there's nobody's business. It really aches your hand and it just takes absolutely forever. But really, I mean, I did do this side, as you can see along here, and with that multi-tool, I literally kind of just cut out all them squares in like a matter of like 10 or 15 minutes. And then, okay, the tidying up side takes a bit, you know, you've got to sort of like cut it, tidy it up with the blade, sand it down. But to generally just get that cut out really is a good way to go. And then you've probably got all this dust and debris, so get yourself a hoover, right? And it's not plugged in, but yeah, basically suck out, you know, get it into the gun port, and it does really sort of get them all sorted. So now I've got the task of going through all these. I'll show you how to do the actual this door bit here now. Right, quick little tip before we move on to our door there. Getting an old flat sanding stick, a bit like this one, getting our blade, because the problem you're going to probably face when doing this is you're going to get through a lot of blades. You want a blade that's nice and sharp literally all the time on this, or you're just going to be making work harder for yourself. So because we're going to get through a lot of blades, there's a little tip here which we can just sort of, a little tip trick just to sort of prolong our blade. So just get in a bit of oil, multi-purpose oil, 3-in-1, and what we're going to do is we're just gonna put a bit of this on our sanding stick, and then what we're going to do is just quickly basically sand it up a bit, right, just to get the sharpness back into it, sort of going in circles, turn it over, do the opposite side, right, and you just go at this for a little bit, and what's going to happen is you're basically going to, you know, put a bit more sharpness back into your blade and just give you that little bit more working time to save you basically a bit more money, because you will get through a lot and you do want them to be quite sharp. Now yes, you could go out, you could get a sanding stone and do it all properly and everything, but this is just like, you know, I use these sanding sticks all the time. I use my multi-purpose oil there for my airbrush. You know, it's stuff that hand I ain't got to go out and buy anything else. Alright, and it's just a quick job like so. Right, so that there, let's wipe it off. Should be a little bit more sharper, so let's bring back in the huge HMS Victory here, and we're going to be looking at our door just here. So what we want to do, we want to get some nice cuts. Now it is kind of hard to cut this, hold this and keep you on camera, so do forgive me, but basically we want to slowly sort of shave at it, and we want to cut down this and hack at it basically until we come flush with the deck itself. Right. So with that all hacked down to the deck there, all nice and flush, you don't want to be cutting into the deck, you just want it to be nice and flush. Get in a ruler, and what we're going to do from the bottom, i.e. the deck, where we're all nice and flushed, let's get this actually the right way around. Right, let's get you on camera, there we go. And then what you want to do, you want to measure up 23 mil, right, and just mark that. Right, and that there is where we then need to cut up like we just did, or come in with the multi-tool and saw it out, and that is your door there. And then you can just do, as hopefully as you can see as well, this is what I've already cut out. I've not done any sanding, I've not done any trimming or anything like that, so hopefully you can see you do get the shave pretty quick, pretty easy using that multi-tool, which means, you know, you can literally just a bit of a trim up with the blade, same around the door, you know, coming in with a sanding stick, tidying it up, and it does get it done a hell of a lot quicker. And you know it's something you want to sort of be able to do, because we've got another row above this row to do. You know, there's just so many gun ports. You know, we don't want to sort of kill the fun out of this. You know, it is better to go off and find an easier, quicker way of doing it, but you do have to be quite careful when holding that multi-tool, because well, yeah, let's face it, I have slipped once or twice here and there, which you don't really want to worry about, because if you're painting your HMS Victory, we can fill that in a bit, sand it over, and it should be all right. So I've now got to crack on with getting all these gun ports finished.